Now, SITA is the leading information provider for the aviation industry for many years now. But as you said earlier in the session, the world is changing. We're actually using pretty old technology, both on board, but also in some of the processes involved in managing the industry as a whole. Maybe just the ticketing and the passenger side of it is kind of digitalized already, because everybody has their own mobile device and smartphone in their pockets. But what's in store for the future? Because as we saw this summer, technology actually needs to take over much more of the processes than the humans are capable of handling.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is a lot to do. You know, we have experienced, as you said, over summer, a terrible passenger experience, a terrible customer experience, especially here in Europe. And, you know, over the pandemic, more than 2 million jobs have been lost in the aviation industry. Now, the good news is that the traffic is back and the appetite from the passengers, from the customers, is high to get back and fly. Here, how can we adapt quickly to this new demand? The fact is that digital can do a lot to enable a seamless passenger journey, to make sure that you don't wait hours queuing for security, to facilitate the passenger flows, to enable a better passenger journey. What technologies are we talking about? We are talking about biometrics, about computer vision, about business intelligence, technologies that allows you to get to the airport and your face become your boarding pass. Your face become even your passport. And your smartphone in your pocket is the remote controller of the flight, of the journey. You have all the information that you need. You can control where your baggage is. You have, you know, useful information to guide you through the airport. This is the principle and the objectives of what we are building. Technologies are available, and very practical example is just to board a plane through biometric gates instead of manual control. It's 40% faster. So imagine how an airport can be seamless when your face allows you to pass every kind of controls. So that's the first element. The second element is to allow for productivity. You know, we will have for a long time less people in the airport. Heathrow needs to hire more than 10,000 people. Swissport needs to hire 20,000 people. And it's very difficult to attract talents and people again into our industry. So we need to do more with less. And here we're talking about automation, about robotics, about self-service capabilities that enable to operate smoothly an airport and an airline with a little bit less people. Finally, we need to become a sustainable industry. And that was today and yesterday really a hot topic for the APG Congress. And enabling technologies that allow to optimize the flight, to reduce the taxi time, to optimize the climbing and descent phases of an aircraft, bring up to 10% of kerosene consumption reduction, which means up to 10% of carbon emission reduction. All of this is what we have on the table to build the aviation of tomorrow.
Just before my next question, I'll just put briefly the mic a little bit to the top like this. Yeah. So, but this means that the processes are optimizing. And on the other hand, everybody, all of us are becoming part of the interface because of the biometrics. But this raises some other important questions, the questions of safety, the questions of privacy. We know that people are now really sensitive on those topics. And that is the first part of my question. The second one will be, how can we encompass all the aspects of the industry with this new processes and digitalization that is taking over? because passenger part is one side, but there is also the cargo part.
Yes.
And we saw that cargo can create a really huge bottleneck and a huge problem and an issue for the whole industry.
You're raising two very important points. The first point is about, making sure that the use of technology keeps the privacy and the security of the data. This is of paramount importance. We have a very strong regulation of global data protection, so the so-called GDPR regulations that are really very strict, and we implement those regulations very, very strictly. This allows the passenger, first of all, to give his or her consent to the utilization of the data, to give the consent to go through a biometric gate, for instance, so that if you are not comfortable, you will not do it. Anyhow, the data after the travel is destroyed, and we really are keen to have a very secure data privacy regulation applied. So that's very important. But by the way, when you use your smartphone and you unlock your smartphone with your face, or you allow for a bank transfer, you are already entering a biometrically enabled world.
Yeah, the technology is already there,
Yeah, exactly.
It's the habit.
It's the habit. And I think that COVID has had a role of catalyst of the digitalization of our minds. We are more ready today to travel with our smartphone with all the data inside than we were 3 years ago.
We're now much more integrated into the whole ecosystem.
That's
People
right.
were forced to stay at home, to get in touch virtually. So now this whole virtualization is actually taking over, and the airline industry could be one of the pioneers in that respect.
Yeah, we need to do it before others will do it for our industry and will disrupt us. The second part of your question is equally important. So it's really talking about the ecosystem. And you mentioned the example of the cargo industry. We can enlarge that to the multimodality, allowing the passenger to have a seamless passenger experience from the train to the plane. Just to take an example, you want to go from, Bordeaux to New York. You will have a part of the travel that will be by train, and the second part of the travel from Paris to New York that will be by plane. We need to have a seamless passenger experience, a unique ticket. This goes as well for travels that will, use plane and ships one day. This goes up to the future of urban air mobility. We spoke about flying drones. So all of this is...
And not just in the air, but also on the ground.
Yeah,
as you mentioned,
exactly.
You can rent now electric vehicles that are self-operated or whatever. I mean, the future holds everything in store.
Yeah, and maybe you get to the airport through an express train, like in Stockholm, and you are allowed to leave your baggage in the center of the city. And the check-in of the baggages is done off the airport in the city. How comfortable and seamless it is if you just travel with your face as your boarding pass without your baggage, because everything has been taken care of.
So even in the future, it could go door-to-door or office-to-office experience altogether.
Yes.
Not just by taking the train, but by taking the taxi that will take you right in front of your door.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a consumer, we have been used in the last years to be always connected, to have really very easy to use services. Well, our industry, aviation, needs to adapt to that and to provide seamless, always connected, easy to operate, stressless services for our customers.
And last but not least, one question that I would have asked inside for the whole audience to hear, but now we didn't have the time. So There is another issue, the backdoor issue of all that is happening. This process needs a lot of manpower and a lot of investment in terms of brain power to code everything. How are you coping with that? Because the automation needs algorithms, needs software, and that's something that is invisible to the customer, both the passenger and the companies that are your customers. But it's a huge investment and a huge manpower that's behind those processes.
Yes. You know, data is the power, is the new oil. So being able to manage the data, to have automated processes, to be able to really secure that we give, in the same time that we have a physical passenger experience, we have a digital passenger experience. With a digital passport, digital travel credential is key. We cannot cope and we cannot evolve without it. It requires a lot of digital experts, a lot of technologists that we need to attract. We need to give a sense of purpose to the new generations of workers, of IT specialists that need to really be attracted by our industry. Our industry was very sexy 30 years ago, and it's probably a bit less sexy today.
And how open is the industry towards all their ideas? Because new generation is always coming with new ideas, new innovations. And then after that, there is now talk about machine learning. How open are you and your industry towards giving the machine, the artificial intelligence, the right also to make certain decisions and to rewrite or upgrade the code that operates everything behind the scenes?
We are as open as safety is concerned. So in our industry, the paramount priority is safety. Safety of the travel, safety and security of the data, safety and security of the employees. So we are open, we use this kind of technologies. We work with startups, we work with partners in the industry that come from other industries, and we bring our aviation expertise to make sure that we do things that are improving the safety, the security, and the passenger experience. That's really the intent, and we are really leading edge, I think, in our company, in SITA, for the adaptation of the new technologies you have just mentioned to the aviation industry.
So we can say we are ready to delegate to the machines the right to take care about our safety as well.
No, I wouldn't say so.
It's a very important point that I wanted to raise. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
For me as well.